totally my bad, dude. I gave you the wrong number.
That's funny because I was like called it twice, and then the person was like, I'm just gonna hang up."
Yeah, sorry, man.
So go ahead and introduce yourself. And I'm Jeffrey of Lycit. I create Vibe Osmosis, music under Spirit Navigators, just for an example.
Sorry, what?
I was just saying, just for an example, I'm Jeffrey Lycit. I do Vibe
Okay, yeah.
Osmosis, and
All right. My name is something is real. But you can call me anytime. That's a inside joke for my Kalen. You can call me Kalen. And yeah, I've been making music since I was like 15. I use like the family computer at home, and I was just really just having fun, and I really enjoyed it, and I continued doing so until I guess until the present day, and yeah, my recreation of Nirvana's Nevermind, but in the Mario 64 sound font has been the thing that's gained me some attention, which is kind of hilarious because that's really like the thing that it's not what I wanted to do,
it
but
is it is really really good. It is really really awesome.
thank
My
you.
my question for you right now about that stuff. Are you a Nirvana fan?
I am a huge Nirvana fan. I'm a big fan of Kurt Cobain in particular, and his his songwriting actually is one of my biggest musical influences. I started out doing electronic music, and then in 2018, I picked up guitar and like Nirvana. Like, I mean, if anyone who plays guitar knows that Nirvana songs are really, really easy to learn because they're just power chords pretty much. But yeah, I really liked his music, and yeah, it's been a big influence on my own uh, songwriting when I write rock music.
Something about myself I'll share is
Hmm.
that whenever I was living in Seattle, I was hanging out near his house with a
Yeah,
friend, and the gate to his house was open, so we ran up. And we grabbed out the phone. We were taking pictures and all that, and
yeah,
we realized like because the workers that like do like the maintenance on the house,
yeah,
nobody's inside the house. Like they've emptied out the house. They just bought it. It's just an
yeah.
empty shell. So we ran inside and hung out inside Kurt Cobain's house until some people came down and tell us to leave.
Wow.
And it's totally illegal. Like basically, we were like, oh, people are coming, and they know we're in the house. Like we're gonna have to try and like run on out of here because they're gonna like shut the gate and call the security, all that stuff.
Yeah,
Like it was a really heart wrenching moment. But I was like, this is Kurt's house. Like
yeah.
it really meant a lot to me because I've been a big fan, and
Hmm.
also like whenever I came across really so a friend of mine sent me your thing of the
Yeah.
Nevermind, and because they know I'm a big Nirvana fan, and they were just like, oh, this is Vibe like all the way. And I was like listening to it, and I was like, holy shit, holy, like every time I was just like, dude,
Yeah.
this music is good. Like he put it together, but like reinvented it, and then like I was like, the only thing that I thought was missing is like an AI Kurt Cobain like digital
Oh
64
my
bit
goodness.
voice or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a bit too advanced for me.
So did you so what was like your recording process? Like what's your recording process when you make music? Tell me a little bit about how you go about making songs.
Okay, so my normal songwriting process. Okay, so basically since I do basically both electronic music and also like I guess rock or indie rock, whatever you want to call it. I started out basically I think for with electronic music, it's pretty standard what I do. I kind of start off with a drum line, and then I don't actually know how to play keyboard, so I kind of just like put down notes on a MIDI roll, then play them over again, and just in my mind kind of picture what would sound good next to that, and I slowly just piece together random stuff And and if I think it sounds good, I keep it. If I think it sounds bad, I save it, then leave it and go away, never come back. And I have like literally like thousands of files on my computer that are like a song that's just like a one, like a 2 bar loop, And like lots of people, I see like lots of people like understand that. Am I too loud, by the way? Is my voice like distorted? That's fine. Yeah, that's good. Sorry, I'm using like a crappy old phone. Like I don't usually use phones like this. So I started when I was 15. I'm 23 now, so I guess it's been, oh man, eight. I mean, come on, I can do math. 8 years. Yeah, 8 years, which is quite a while now that I think about it. Feels, yeah, yeah. Mhm. Yeah, I definitely go through that. The thing is, I'm also like a visual artist. Like my funny enough, my real passion lies in web comics. I actually want to create web comics, and I've, anyways, on my channel right now, I'm uploading more music that I've made because you might as well, I got content, and now I got people to like actually listen to it. Might as well put it out there. But I plan on slowly integrating my comics, and if it's big enough, I'd like to be able to do like basically do comics and like not like sort of animate them, but like find people to like do voice acting for them as well to make them more immersive too. Because I just like telling stories, and I think it's a fun thing that I also like. I enjoy that. I've liked drawing comics since I was even younger, so that's kind of what I wanted to do all my life. And now it kind of feels like I have an audience who likes a very particular thing. I can do more of the video game sound font stuff, but my real passion lies in comics.
I was about to say I seen like your artwork on your page, and I
Yeah.
wondered if all of that kind of came together or if it was like one thing or the other. And in that, were you more inspired by different comics or different like animated movies or stuff? Like, what was kind of like the inspiration behind some of the artwork driven?
On my channel. So which like my YouTube channel? Which
Yeah,
one?
yeah,
Okay, are you talking about the animated? Did you watch, like, I had this animated thing that I made
yeah. I
back when I was,
wondered.
yeah,
Yes.
I made it. I made it pretty quickly, but my biggest influences are like, asking what my biggest influences are, because
Yeah.
it's really like it's the same kind of thing for music, in the sense that I I take in a lot of content, and then it kind of bounces around in my brain, and then I regurgitate the things that I like the most. And lots, like, I mean, almost every artist is actually pretty much doing this. It's almost like we're an AI, and other artists are giving us like information, and then we process it and regurgitate something else out of it. I think obviously I we can make a lot more clear stuff though, in my opinion.
Yeah,
But
I'm a
yeah,
I'm a big fan of like the mixture between like the blender kind of style art or like more like digital directed art, and
yeah.
also like
Mm.
how like to animate and bring different aspects of that to life. Like when did it kind of hit for you that like this was like your thing personally?
The like that comics was my thing, or the music, because I mean the comics, like, I've wanted to do comics ever since I was young. Like, it's been like a lifelong dream, and now it's like it seems like it can actually almost happen for real now, because one of the hardest things as an artist, whether you're a musician or a visual artist or whatever, is gaining, like, a following, especially online, when you have countless other people who are also doing stuff that's just as good or bad as your own stuff. So it can be tricky, but I'm really I'm pleased with the attention I've gotten. I just I don't want to like let people down either. You know, I want to continue making things that people enjoy because you know people are subscribing to my channel for the video game downfall and stuff, and I you know it's still my channel. I still want to post my other art, but I want to stay like kind of loyal to my fan base too and let them you know give the people what they want.
In a way, it's like you're given the best of both worlds
Yeah.
of like what you are able to bring to different stuff. And like my thought was like this guy must be getting like requests out the ass of like, oh, do
I
this
am,
track.
man. It's insane, and I can't like I can't do them. Like I can't do another whole album. I can do. My plan is to just do like individual one-off songs, but like for work, I'm like an independent contractor. Like I'm working. I'm out 12 hours a day. Like it's I don't have time.
Yeah, I'm on the same kick right now. It's like I'm working, and at the same
Yeah.
time, whenever I finally get home, it's like what I
Yeah.
do is like my creative outlet per se, outside of like
Mm.
having time like with my partner or like with my friends, or actually get into like tonight, like after this, like I'm going to meet up with my friend Jaden who does like
Nice. Yeah.
drums. And like just
Yeah.
to spend time to like record and work on music because that's also like a goal.
Yeah.
And I
For sure.
wondered, like, in your thing, like, are you kind of spending time to like work on this project, and then like and then taking time away to get back to like what you need to do at the house or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's really. I mean, I'm this like man. This is all still so new. Like the like I uploaded the original the Nevermind. Uh, I did that like a month ago or something like that. Like this is all like come so quickly. It's pretty mind blowing. So I'm still trying to find the balance. And I can tell you at the moment right now, my days consist of like waking up and then going to work, coming back, and I don't have like coming back in the evening when I don't have very much. I have a window of like maybe 3 hours to do stuff, and I'm spending a lot of it like checking my social media and like making sure everything's like okay. I do read lots of comments because I mean I'm getting lots of comments, and yeah, I'm trying to also over the past I guess this week I've been putting together old stuff that I made to release just because it wasn't up and I didn't care enough to have it up, but now I'm like, okay, I got some like decent music that that's my music, not the Mario stuff that I'd like to share with people. So I'm planning on putting that up, and it's going to be up in the next couple of weeks.
Also, one of the main reasons I love to reach out to artists is because, two, I think it gives the opportunity to share a little bit about like yourself and what you're doing and like what kind of current projects you're working on, but also like
For
the
sure.
music and stuff that relates to you, and also like what you're willing to share like for the show. So like if you have any particular tracks like you'd like to share for this episode, I would be more than glad and happy to put it out there and share it. And also like
Any particular track you said?
yeah, any particular track or like something that you're working on, or it could be Vibe
Yeah.
Osmosis like specific, like I'll just get up and jam for the thing,
Mm.
whatever.
Yeah.
So this kind of goes into my next question.
Mm.
The favorite bands that you've listened to all throughout time.
Oh my goodness, man. My favorite band of all time. Dude, that is such a hard question. That is, because I've listened. My tastes in music have changed so much, and I just have so many bands I like. It's like it's hard. It's hard to say my favorite. It's easy to say my favorite at the moment. Um, my favorite. Oh man, even then, it's like I'm listening to. Okay, well, man, do I have to only give one answer? Because I want to give a list of bands, and I want to know if you know them because curious because they're not so unpopular. But so other than Nirvana, like three other of my biggest influences is a band called Pinback. Have you heard Pinback? Granddaddy. Um, yeah, Granddaddy. I love Granddaddy. Beach Fossils is another big influence, and uh, Duster. You know, might have heard of Duster. What was that?
Duster coming from you, kid.
Yeah, no, I like Duster a lot. Yeah, man. Yeah. Some of my what was that?
I'm about to say some of the little bit of the abrasive stuff in that where I'm like, okay, I can get it.
Uh-huh.
With
Yeah, and he's like it's yeah.
with my next question though, astrological sign too, and your favorite color.
I don't pay much attention to the astrological stuff, but I guess technically I'm an Aquarius. I don't that doesn't really mean anything for me though, to be honest. Like I just don't pay attention. I just try to live my life and I don't like want to box myself into anything, you know. And what was the other question? Sorry, my favorite color? Hello? Yeah. My favorite movie is The Iron Giant. Have you ever seen that? I think it's the best movie ever made. And actually it's also one of my influences for like my visual art style. Like I really like the art style in that movie. Got great animation. And yeah, it's just a great story. Like I cry every time, man.
There's aspects of that movie. It's like it touches on heavy nostalgia because like I remember going to like Hollywood Video and like renting out that movie and like it being like my own night to kind of like take the dive and watching this. And like it's just me. Didn't have to like watch it with my sisters or my parents or anything. And like after I remember like after watching that movie, like coming out of my room and like telling everybody like this movie was actually really good, really cool,
Yeah.
and you're gonna hear about it if you don't hear about it right now. Like I just like I don't know I can't I'm like mind blown because like my parents took me to like rent that movie and then like a year later it's like circuiting on TV and the Cartoon Network and everything like that. It told also. Did you happen to see in Cartoon Network's polls that they say majority of the people that watch it are above 18?
No, I didn't know that.
It's more than 50%.
Yeah.
I was like, that means that the people that were there from whenever Cartoon Network was actually becoming a thing and like growing,
Yeah.
they've stuck with it majority of like
Yep.
their life. And like there's of that too because they say there's not like a whole lot of view time on the networks too. It's like I wonder like what kind of view time are these other networks getting whenever like only a large percent of Americans are tuning in to watch this one channel for a couple of hours, whatever.
Yeah.
Like what other stuff
Yeah,
are
I
they
wonder.
tuning into, and like how exactly do they keep on going whenever? I guess individuals like maybe like franchise. That's one of my biggest questions because even with music, it's like so many people have heard it, but how exactly like does it grow and get heard and spread around? And at the same time, it's like music is so universal, like it falls into your lap sometimes. Which also, I don't know, brings me into one of my next questions with you.
Yep.
Whenever you're making music, like for you, are you trying to kind of like tie a theme, put it with like with the story, or are you just kind of like seeing what you can build and put together? How does it kind of work for you whenever you're making music?
Sorry, is the question like what's like my sorry, repeat the question, sorry. Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. So the answer is it's like it depends. It really depends on the song. Sometimes I'm just in the mood to make music, and it's just like I'll sit down, I'll start playing. Like nowadays, it's like I usually use my guitar as the primary thing, and I'll start just playing chords on the guitar. I'll like think of a melody, and I'll kind of like hum or sing the melody. And it's like sometimes I either like just like mumble words, and like they'll slowly just kind of like come out of nowhere, and the lyrics are always really dumb and like vague and meaningless, which kind of sucks because I that's not exactly something I want to do, but it's like when I'm feeling the music, like I'm feeling the music. It's not I'm not trying to say anything in particular, but there are other songs that I spend more time with the lyrics, and I'm trying to say something in particular, and it's like it's yeah to try to some songs I haven't released yet are like sort of like stories. You know, other ones are just kind of like reflections on life. Deep stuff. Like, you know, but yeah, my oftentimes I'm just doing pretty much whatever.
So right now, like with your music, are you like,
Mhm.
are you having to write it down? Do you kind of like build like chords and progressions and like memorize it and then like record it later? Like for your own personal stuff, like how exactly are you breaking down songs?
I usually, if I'm playing guitar on my own and I come up with a cool chord progression, I'll usually just like record it on my phone and write out the chords. And usually, if I'm that far, I've probably thought of a melody as well, and I'll sing that melody and record that too. That's usually what happens if I'm not around my computer. But if I'm around my computer, I'll just plug my guitar right in and start just playing stuff and cutting it, taking the best takes, and then looping that, and then I literally use Microsoft. Cause I use Windows, so I use Microsoft like Notepad for my lyrics.
Wow. What do you use to record with?
So I use to record. I record on my PC. I use a Native Instruments complete audio interface, which is literally like the cheapest smallest one because I'm poor, but it literally just has like a microphone input and an instrument input. That's pretty much it, and like some like volume knobs, and I plug it into my computer, and in the program that I use for music, I use Presonus Studio One version 2, which is from like 2008.
Persona?
Like, what was that? Sorry.
You say it's called Persona?
Presonus, Presonus.
I never came across that. I never messed with that.
Yeah, lots of people actually, which is surprising. Lots of people haven't heard of it, but it's like, if you were to look up like top 10 digital audio workstations, like Presonus would be up there. Presonus is a pretty big company in the audio industry. But I'm using like an old version basically. I never upgraded. It's the one that my dad had, so I'm using it.
I'm kind of like that with Ableton. I think Ableton 10 was the
Yeah.
best, and them updating and changing it, not worth it. So you better stick with your old Mac and not change your way.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad. I've tried to use Ableton before, and it's not bad, but it's since it's so different from what I'm using, it's just like it's hard to pick up a new thing, even though some of the basic principles are still there. It's just like to re-navigate an entire interface. Learning all the new keyboard shortcuts and all that. It's such a hassle. I prefer to just use what I got works, so I'll use that.
Definitely. And what I say, if something works for you, do not change up your way unless somebody's like 100% persuading you. Like, no, you need to upgrade to the Logic Pro, and you got the MacBook
Yeah.
Pro, and you need this, and you need that, and you got your Pro. So, like with
Yeah.
your music, whenever you're doing like these cover songs, Are you
Hmm.
like programming in like what the chords and stuff, what the music is, or are you kind of going through each note and playing it and recording it because like you're following the music or whatever?
Yeah, no, basically the process is. I mean, I'm not the first one to do this, by the way. Yeah, it was I was actually first inspired by this YouTube user named On Forward, which I'm sure most of the people who are listening to my stuff already know about. He did In Rainbows, um, put in the Mario 64 sound font, and that's literally what first inspired me. And I was like, wow, that's amazing, because like Johnny Greenwood, from one of the guitar players from Radiohead, noticed his work, and I'm like, oh man, I really hope like Chris Novoselic will see my thing or whatever. But I mean, maybe he still will. I don't know. It hasn't. It's only been a month, but it's like I thought that was really cool, and I really liked Nevermind, so I decided I'd do that. And the process for making that is actually like not it's not too complicated, but there's a good way and a bad way to do it. So the basic premise is you just got to find a good base like start, which is like as a like you use a MIDI file basically that you got to find, and then you got to just think about what sounds work the best. And this is really the hard part, and this is what divides the good people who are good at this from the people who are bad at this is first finding the good sounds, but also like knowing the song well and being able to like change the notes, because no MIDI file you ever find is ever going to be good right off the bat. Most of them are just pretty janky. Like I've used ones where the melody's like in the wrong place. It's just like just some of them are just jank. But like since I only do songs that I'm familiar with, it's easier for me to like correct it and do it in a way that's recognizable for people. So yeah, so it's a combination of different things, but yeah, it's really all about grabbing a good basic start, finding a good MIDI file, and then really you got to arrange everything else yourself and basically correct the MIDI file, because again, like it never sounds good right off the bat.
What I love, what I
What
love a
was that, sir?
lot, what I love a lot is like with YouTube right now. If you look into it, like I'm a fan.
Hmm.
You know how I said about Nirvana. Like whenever I was
Hmm.
younger, they would try and teach you how to play and record Nirvana like on GarageBand, and I remember like younger, like just pulling it up on my laptop and like pulling out my phone and trying to copy like what they did. And true,
Hmm.
like I would try like in the end game, even though like I maybe followed what they said, in the end game I was still like trying to quantize and fix like towards where like it was sounding more like what it kind of actually sounds like, other than like whenever I was doing it myself, it kind of sounded more
Hmm.
choppy or something.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And also like with this I guess we'll follow up with, what's your favorite Nirvana record?
My favorite Nirvana record would be Nevermind. It's by far Nevermind's my favorite, hands down.
Were you the one that followed it up with In Utero, or did somebody else steal you?
I also did In Utero. My In Utero was a bit rushed, but other people I knew, because basically I knew that other people were going to try to do it themselves as soon as they could, and two other people beat me to it. But for most comments I read, people like mine, people
I'm
like
about to say
mine,
I
but
didn't I didn't
never
not
mind.
even notice anybody else's but yours maybe then.
Yeah.
My favorite record of theirs is obviously Bleach, but In Utero
Yeah.
is the one that whenever I was in high school I bought that
Mhm.
one and that was in my car forever.
Yeah. 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 Mhm. Yeah. It's yeah, I guess so, because it was the first. I mean, I was introduced to Nirvana when I was in high school, and I basically like I knew like some of their songs, but I never knew the discography. I never knew what songs were on what album. And then one time I just bought a Nevermind CD from a garage sale, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what songs are on this album. and it was like literally all of my favorite ones, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is the best. So I mean, yeah. Anyways, I really like Nevermind because it's and I think this is why one of the reasons why Nevermind works so well with the Mario sound font is because it's harmonically one of the most it's they're a record that relies most on like like the musicality of what they're doing because like in Bleach obviously I mean in Bleach and Yudera and the rest of them are still awesome and great, but they're a lot noisier, they're a lot more grungy and a lot more like noisy, and it's like it's so hard to do that with with those sounds. But with songs that are really melody and chord driven, it's like it's much easier to do that because of the musicality of it, I guess.
One of the biggest things that I really admire about Nevermind particularly is the space that they leave between like the space and the contrast that they leave between what the drums do, what the bass do, what Kurt provided for the guitar, and to what extent like what the songs are about for sure, because there's
Yeah.
so much in the lyrics. But
Hmm.
he laid it. I feel like even whenever you put it down in like the instrumental version, like he laid it out for you to be truly indulged with with like the music and the melody, and also like what maybe like the album is going to give you in its entirety, you know.
Hmm.
And with like your own music, whenever you're making stuff, are you kind of like holding on to like a little bit of like what Nirvana did, or are you trying to also like translate some of that like influence into like your own kind of story or your own like narrative per se?
It's really like like it all it like this is not stuff I don't think about it too much. I kind of just do it, and I know that Nirvana is one of my biggest influences like musically. So like there's lots of like musical motifs, I guess you could say that I take directly from Nirvana, and it's like yeah, I use those quite a bit, and yeah, it's like and then I kind of like but then I'm combining that stuff with like like stuff like musical motifs from other bands, even including like it's like I tried to like write songs like Kurt Cobain does, and then to produce the music like how some in a less like how some like as I really like shoegaze music too. I like shoegaze. I like surf music, and I kind of like that's those are two of my favorite genres, and it's like I want to do like surfy shoegazy Nirvana esque music. Like that's what I'm aiming for with my rock music.
That is actually a very, very nice point to actually bring up because, oh yeah. So here's a really funny question. If you were going to say an animated character in like a cartoon show, like what would you say? What cartoon character most represents you? That you resemble or would say like represents you?
Oh my goodness, I've never thought about that. That's such a weird question. Oh my goodness. I don't even know. I don't know where to start. Because now I gotta think of a cartoon. Like what? Like I guess the best way to think about this is what character do I relate the most with? Definitely Squidward. Just kidding. No, that's not true. But like I'm thinking about like a SpongeBob character.
What's
I'm that guy who's always screaming my leg in the
with
background.
SpongeBob,
That's me.
like I think with like Squidward, he adds a lot of realism to like
Man,
your
I
skepticism and stuff.
I know, yeah. It's so funny. The older I get, the more I sympathize with Squidward. I'm like, man, this poor guy just wants to like enjoy like good classical art, and and he's just bombarded by his annoying neighbor. It's just
And
like,
Also,
Oh,
he's like this average worker, and then has
yeah,
like this above and beyond, like kiss ass suck up worker that's younger than
yeah,
him. That like
yeah,
some, like, and I feel like there's so much to relate in Squidward, because even whenever you're younger, you realize like maybe you are the younger person that's pestering like somebody out of like your vibe or your energy or
yeah,
whatever. But also
yeah,
like with like Squidward, there's so many points whenever I feel like in the show, he points out some of the most like sarcastic things that's like he made his job the best he possibly could.
yeah,
Like he
yeah,
he came into work every day like, at least I'm here, but like this job is really shitty.
yeah. Oh man.
I guess that's kind of one of the biggest props, I think, that I don't know, there's a lot of cartoon shows I think that tie in some of those deeper kind of moments where you're like, ha. Let's get into some of this up to date topic stuff. Are you a fan of South Park?
South Park?
Yeah.
I I not really, to be honest. I've seen, you know, like some episodes here and there. I've seen clips, and usually it's pretty funny. But I wouldn't call myself a fan of South Park.
The new I feel like this new season is really them being as bad as they possibly can be. Like
What? Oh man.
they're still at that point of like, yeah, try and cancel me, or like hashtag cancel South Park, but at the same time, that they're feeding like this monster entity that's like going to go on for what I like to think Dragon Ball Z is going to happen forever, because like how much like money and history is behind that. It's like there's no ending that shit. They plan on keeping that shit going
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
Like whenever you think of Goku, like whenever he actually was 1,000 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
to be honest, I haven't watched any Dragon Ball Z.
But to say, Dragon Ball Z is definitely a wild ride, especially for the fans
Yeah.
that's been there for the trenches. What
Mhm.
about the whole Rick and Morty madness? Were you a fan whenever that came along?
No, I'm not really a big fan of Rick and Morty either. I mean, it's like I've definitely seen I've seen clips of it, and I find the show funny. I think there's lots of funny things. It's like but some I was gonna say some of it's like too dark, and like as I'm saying that I'm laughing because I'm just thinking about some of the jokes, and this is so screwed up, and yet oh man, here I am laughing. But yeah, I mean obviously yeah, the Rick and Morty is another big one that people like. One show, yeah, to be honest, I haven't watched many of these ones that are on networks, but I actually have watched BoJack Horseman, and I was a big fan of that actually. Have you
Yeah,
seen that one?
I watched BoJack as well, and what I really like about BoJack too is
Yeah,
the twist on Hollywood society, and being
yeah,
like
yeah,
somebody that once was good, and then like still trying to find their niche in like a small group of friends. I
yeah,
wonder to what extent like that is relatable for the people out there like that's been doing that in LA, that was like maybe like on a famous TV show, and then later on their
mhm,
lives are just going on.
mhm.
What about BoJack did like do you vibe with and like appreciate and continue for?
Man, I think really it was the show's like it's sort of like honesty. Like it's like it showed sort of the dark side of Hollywood, I guess, and like it was realistic in the sense of like like I mean you already mentioned this. It's like showing what it's a guy who was once famous now isn't, and it's like I think it's a good show because it really there's lots of us who aren't like who aren't and never were big or like some anything in other people's eyes, but there's lots of people who are like BoJack, who relate with him, and even like I kind of felt like myself relating to him too, but it was like obviously not on the same level, but it was, it's it's I what was it? Yeah, exactly, yeah. And yeah, it just paints a picture of someone who's like here's like the I think the best way to put it in my mind is that it paints a picture of someone who's like not a good person, and then you see yourself in that, and then you realize that I'm not a good person, and then that like that awareness kind of helps you to become a better person eventually. But that I don't know if everyone got that from that show, but that's what it kind of did for me.
I definitely think there's aspects in a lot of these kind of like sitcom setup shows where yeah, even like in their sarcasm of stuff that's over the top, it's sort of like a flashback or like a smack in your face of maybe like maybe your own ignorance at times, especially,
Mhm.
or like your ability to maybe be more humble about certain things too,
Mhm.
especially. This is gonna go right back into one of my vibe questions. All right, so this one's for survival. If you were trapped on an island and you could only take one thing with you, what would you bring?
Man, I don't know. At that point, like a Bible, like what else? What else do you got?
Oh, thank Lord Jesus, we gotta get off this island. All right, and to this follow up question,
uh,
favorite instrument and why that's your favorite instrument, and what kind of gear do you have? Do you have like any extra gear than like your
mm, my favorite instrument is by far guitar, and I guess electric because it's like I mean I like acoustic guitar too. I have both, but I have a cheap acoustic guitar. The brand is called Vantage. It was just one that I got my friend gave to me for free, which is really nice. But then my guitar, I believe it's a real Stratocaster, to be honest. But that when I bought it, the neck was replaced, so I'm just kind of taking the guy's word for it that it's a legit Stratocaster. But that's what I use, and I have a Donner effects pedal, which is like a low end kind of beginner pedal that has like a distortion, delay, and chorus effect on it. And then I also got a looping pedal recently, which is super fun. But that's basically it for my gear. Honestly, man, I really actually I have an acoustic bass actually that I bought recently that I plan on incorporating. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I really want to get a baritone guitar, to be honest. It just sucks. They're expensive.
Also, I always like to circle back to this. Outside of the Iron Giant, did you have like another
Mm.
movie that you've seen recently that you would say like you really liked, or any other movies you want to shout out that you would maybe want to recommend or something?
Mm. Now I'm just trying to think of another movie that I absolutely loved. That shouldn't be hard. I've seen quite a fair amount of movies. Just another one that I loved. It's like, oh, Children of Men. Have you seen that one? Basically, man, it's like whenever trying to think of a good movie, I basically just think of whatever movies made me cry, and it's like that's the movie that I choose. Yeah,
Have you seen the new Avatar 2 yet, or are you skipping out?
I have not. I have not seen that one. No.
I think James Cameron did a real number on us, but at the same time,
Yeah.
he better really keep it coming since he's got like back to back movies of Avatar World planned for us. Like maybe it's for a
Yeah.
younger generation, people that haven't been here yet, that's gonna like watch it and think Avatar is the new Titanic or something. But
Oh yeah.
you're really having to take the ride.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's just some like not to be like a big spoiler alert, but there's just something about James Cameron and like ships.
Yeah.
Um, Also, for the people
Yeah.
out there listening, they know.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Yeah.
have you watched any cool shows lately?
I haven't seen it, so I would know.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Have you seen any cool shows lately?
Um. Oh, let me think, man. To be honest, I don't watch very many TV or movies. Like I don't have time for to be honest.
Yeah, I have to make time. I feel you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I don't care enough to make time for those things. But what's a show that I watched recently that I thought was good? Oh, going blank, man.
I'm going blame, man. All right, all right. So right before we leave, okay,
Yeah.
you have to kind of shout out some of the, shout out anybody you want to shout out for the show, and also shout out any songs you'd like me to share for the show.
Okay. Well, I can't really think of anyone in particular to shout out other than I guess the YouTuber On Forward because he's the one who inspired me to do this. But I think most people who are listening to my stuff already know about that guy. But he's good. He does a really good job with his Mario 64 soundphone stuff. And the song that I'd like to shout out is my own song. It's called "You Can Call Me Anytime." So something is real. You can call me anytime. I have a music video for it on YouTube, and yeah, that's something that I'm actually proud of. So
It is
yeah,
definitely
definitely
one of the greater and very cool things that you have out there. I'm definitely a fan. I've checked out your channel and I'm tuned in, and like I'll be keeping an ear out for what you have coming out in the future.
hmm
Do you have any current projects or anything that you're working on outside of your music?
outside of my music. I'd like to. I had this like a graphic novel, like a whole thing written, like that I was gonna work on basically this year in my free time. But it's like now that my channel's exploded, I feel like I have less time for it. But I still want to make room for it, and I eventually want to upload it to. Like there's this webcomic hosting website called Webtoon. You might have heard of it. That basically just has people can post their web comics to it. So I was gonna post mine there, but as I mentioned this earlier that it'd be really cool to finish my comic and then to have people like do the voices for the characters and then kind of overlay the comic and the voices, and it'd be like it won't be like fully animated, but it's still like more engaging if you have someone else reading it for you, and I'd upload that to YouTube. So that's what I hope to do is to upload more of my like visual art stuff to YouTube. So that's that's still a work in progress.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time today to join Vibe Osmosis. It's actually been really
Yeah,
nice talking to you, and really,
thank you very much for having me.
yeah, and also, before we go, um,
Yeah,
what's your favorite song of Nirvana's off Nevermind, so I can share that.
off of Nevermind. Oh man, that's a hard question. I really like because I like so many of them. I'd say Lithium is probably my favorite.
All right. Well, hopefully,
I love the chord progression and melody in that song, dude. It's just hauntingly beautiful. It's an
it
amazing
is.
song. I love Lithium.
It is. And really, thank you for joining Vibe Osmosis. And
Yep,
I'll keep you posted on all the details. If you want to hook me up with any links and some of your music, I will definitely share it for this episode. And we'll keep in touch.
for sure. Perfect. All right, man. Take care. Thanks for having me again. All right. Yep. Cheers.